Good evening all and welcome to another video. This time it's not much of a reaction video, but I've managed to find a video on YouTube of what my bread and butter used to be for 10 years, and it's actually a look inside Challenger 2. Now this one is at the Shrivem Defence Academy, and it's done by World of Tanks North America. I'll put a link in the description to this original video. I haven't seen this video, and I'm going to admit it's been a long time since I've been inside the turret as well. So hopefully at certain points I'll be able to point out if they're getting it incorrect, or give you a bit more in-depth explanation of what they're looking at. Yeah. Again, thanks for coming to the channel, thanks for liking, and also if you could hit the subscribe and the notification bell, I'll do more of these. I'm still waiting on some rations to arrive that I've ordered. I thought it would have been here today, but no, they'll probably be here tomorrow, if not Monday, so there'll be some videos of that. Okay, let's get on to this, inside the Challenger. Oh, well, it doesn't say it's inside it, but there is a picture of it inside, but let's get on with it.
Time into either, although in fairness at Tankfest they did actually let the public get into the Challenger 2 there. Yeah. But yeah, as I just said, it is the Challenger 2. It is the current main battle tank of the British Army, and it is a beast. It is it's a great tank with its limitations, but they're working on it.
What are limitations? Okay.
There's an improvement program going on, but this just looks awesome. This is,
no, it doesn't look. It is awesome. There's one job you want to do in the army, is be in a tank regiment. None of this cavalry. Go straight to a tank regiment.
If I was a 13-year-old boy drawing a tank, it would look something like this. It really would. Yeah.
Well, first of all, I'll point out a couple of things. They might point it out anyway. I don't know if you can see my cursor. Okay. So, if this was a tank that's used in a squadron, a couple of things that I've noticed, you wouldn't have this. See this door here? I don't know if you can see it. Well, that's the TISH thermal imaging sensor head. That there lets you see at night, and if you maintain it correctly and well enough, you can see. There was times I was seeing insects on the ground out in Germany when I was out there, and yeah, if it's cold enough you can see them. If you look after it, it's a brilliant piece of kit. Yeah, you wouldn't have that door open because the lens on the sight itself is quite big, and there's only a certain liquid you can use for it. But yeah, it's fantastic. And then you got this here. That is the gunner's primary sight. That would be open. Commander's primary sort of commander's sight, so the commander can actually search for targets independently of the gunner. And then here you have the GAZ, gun alignment sight, which basically shines a light down to the end of the barrel. That's like a mirror, and that gets you your ball sights, your sights really onto the barrel. And obviously there, that mount, that's for the Gympie, or general purpose machine gun. Commander's hatch, loader's hatch, and the gunner goes in that hatch as well and sits about here, and then you've got the commander behind you, and he's putting stuff on your shoulder. And then driver's hatch, which then, when that shuts down, you actually lie down.
70-something tons of imposing British steel. And with the new suspension, I am so jealous of how the British system works. So you know the way I always rabbit on about tensioning track and how it takes forever on any particular vehicle. The driver has a button. Oh, actually,
no, it's not a button. Oh, wait a minute. He's explaining it.
The lever, I think. But
yeah, well, it's a hydraulic selector switch, or selector, because you've got two, if I remember rightly. So I think. So above your right ear, I think it's your right ear. Yeah, there's two levers. Obviously, they'll forward and back. One for the left, one for the right. And then you've got a switch. It's hydraulic. So obviously, once you've driven about 5 k's, so the track's warm, suspension's warmed up a little bit, You do like a little neutral turn to take up the slack, and then you retract the ram a little bit. Then you extend it, and I think you hold it for 3 seconds after it's done that. Something like that, and you obviously do the both the same side. Sometimes if you get one tighter than the other, the tank will actually start drifting to the tighter side. Or is it the looser? Okay, I think it's the tighter side of the track. So then you have to usually readjust it. But yeah, it saves before Challenger 1, where it was all done by ratchet. So you'd have to get out and you'd ratchet it. Oh yeah, no.
It's an automatic system. We're going, why can't we do that?
And it's not automatic.
But so I mean, this is an early version. You've got the Commander's Independent Viewer up there. Wasn't on the production vehicles initially, although it did show up in the export models and eventually will show up later. Thermal imager is on top of the gun tube, which I have questions about because I mean, if you're shooting at a target way down there, the gun is now in between the sight and the tube. But I think
Tube. It's
we
a
should
barrel.
go in.
Let's check it out.
I want to go in.
Let's go there.
And it's not in the way because actually, it's good when people try and talk about it. It's actually that sight and that sight are both aligned to the barrel because when you bore sight it, you put a special thing at the end of it, and it's actually you set your sights off the bore sight. So I can't really explain it. So I'll try. So say that's your barrel, and your sights should be kind of aligned with that. But if they're slightly off, when you put the bore sight in, you bring the sights onto the bore sight because that barrel will never, or shouldn't, flex or move in it because it's dead straight. It'll always be dead straight. So then you bring your sights onto the barrel. So those sights all aligned to the barrel. And what you're saying about that will get in the way. What's the tube? I don't know. It's never called a tube. It's a barrel.
This is cool.
Yep, we are now inside Challenger 2. Although admittedly you're missing the gunner's primary sight system, but your controls are still there. And I've always found those to be incredibly unique controls. I mean, look at the impression of them. How would you use it?
This looks like it. There's 2 handles here, but it's very stationary.
They don't.
Yeah. Right. What she's trying to do is what the American way did. There's moves. They same as a thing. This does not move. The way you control the turret is by this here. And that's all done by your thumb. It's like a PlayStation controller. So if you look at it, I'll do it on my Xbox one. So if you kind of picture what you're looking at now, so say what my cursor's on is this controller here. This controls the turret, left, right, the barrel, up and down. These switches, that's the lasing switch. So we'll say that's the lasing switch. You push it up, lasers to the target, gives you a distance. Push it down, or it's the other way up. Either way, other way. That's your aided lay. So when you're tracking a target, you press it. It actually lets you track a finer movement, so you can get a better track on the vehicle. Next one is high-low mag. So, and then the other one, that one I believe switches to day or thermal, if I remember. Okay, it's been so long. Obviously here is the selector, so in the middle where it's sitting now, it's not select anything. Switch it to the right is main gun, switch it over to the left is the coax, I think. Yeah. Underneath on this, on the left side where, and just underneath, I think that you have to press that to activate. No, is it I can't remember which side it was now. Well, it might be underneath the right, but there's a switch where you can't just get in there and just move around, or you push it. It's a button you push in the back of it, and then that actually releases the clutches so you can move the turret. And then on the other side, you've got the firing button. Switch. I can't remember what that one's for. Oh, that might be day or night. Mag. Aided lay. Lays. I can't remember what those one is. This here is for sighting, doing your ball sighting. This is only elevation and depression, and then down here, that's where your left and right rotation is to move the turret. This is for the gas auxiliary sight for ball sighting. That there, I don't know if we can see it shortly. Yeah, here we go. That there is the gas sight auxiliary sight. So that's what I said you earlier with that flap. There should be, you can't really see it, I don't think. Yeah, but there's a thing there. You flick it, and it opens up. Gunner's control panel. Can't really see on that. Well, let's keep going, see if we get a better view on it. Oh, chest pad as well. So when you're moving around, you put the chest pad to your chest, as the name says, so you don't get banged around and smash your head open. Also, the backrest of the seat folds down, and when you also get there, you lift it up.
Move it all.
No.
So keep looking.
All right, we have something here.
No. For you have that. You remember, you're going to be operating this, holding on to the control handles.
Right.
Does it remind you of anything? Maybe that kind of control handle.
Oh, wait a minute. We get a better look at. Let me just have a look a minute. Yeah, no. Okay, that one there is day and night mag. I can't remember.
PlayStation control handle.
That too.
How do you operate a PlayStation?
With the buttons.
And what's the joystick?
We have normally there's like a D-pad and then you have an analog stick. So
Yep. So under your right thumb there, just left a little bit.
this one.
That should be. Is it there?
Yeah. It's like a D-pad.
Yeah, it's basically how you operate your gun.
Right. Yeah, I think I got what it is now. I think it's auto lay.
So the control handles are absolutely
Commando
fixed,
press a button.
which
I don't know if it'll show this. There's like loads of little buttons on the
Because
periscopes
remember,
where he
your
presses it,
gun
you flick
system's
it, and it'll go to
stabilised.
that one.
Right.
But are you stabilized?
Not necessarily.
No. So how do you stabilize that? How do you hold on to yourself and stop yourself from getting bashed everywhere?
Well, I can hold it on.
You're holding on to those,
Yeah.
and if those things are fixed,
Auxiliary sight there.
then you can use it for support, and you're not going to put in what are called false inputs by being. And of course, you also have the chest pad here that can come against your chest, and you hold yourself on. So I mean, it's a brilliant idea because of course kids today they're growing up, joining the army, they already know how to use PlayStations. And everything is just there, done with your thumbs. On
Can't really see what that one over there says again, but I'm sure that is. Yeah, I'm sure that's
you were
to do with
it.
it.
A little earlier, and you got a little bit more room.
Yeah, this is considerably.
Okay, that there, it's not in there anymore because they've still got the Klansman radios in it. That was your intercom box, so you plug your headset into that.
Less cramped.
A lot more comfortable. You're there.
That there as well, you can't really see. That's a gun position indicator, so that will tell you where the turret's actually pointing in relation to the vehicle.
For hours, and the sights are reasonably located for you. You got a thermal viewer up there, and a whole bunch of very easily labeled.
Yeah, it's
switches.
good. Commanders. Can't remember what that does now, but that's where you put a lot. That's the computer basically on the tank. And does all like the wind and elevation stuff. That's where you do all your ball sight and stuff and everything as well. He might say it again. Gun position indicator there. See one of the red buttons there. That's for if he sees a target, he can also get the gun control off the gunner on his commander's primary commander's control switch control thing. I can't remember what it's called. Excuse me. That there also, when the thermal's being used, the projection is always on that screen. The commander cannot see the thermal sight directly, unlike the gunner can. The gunner hasn't got a separate monocle or screen to see thermal. It's all done in one primary sight.
Is on your right. I mean, I'll bet you it's because it's so.
Here we go. Good. So yeah, gunner's control panel. Gun control equipment GCE. That's basically a go or no go. If that's pushed in, nothing will happen in the turret. So it's always got to be twisted to the right so it comes out. That is your turret position indicator as well, so you can change it to absolute resolutions. Thermal imager there, again for focusing and all that. A lot of it you can see how there's pretty... Right, laser first, last. You always have it on first. You do last and that for when you're doing
Logical.
like
I
ball
bet you
sighting.
can tell me what each and every one of those knobs does almost just by looking at it.
Yeah, everything's really well labeled. I'm not familiar with what an MRS is.
Oh, muzzle reference system.
Oh.
So that's the at the very end of the gun tube. You'll see a little bulge.
Barrel. It's not a tube. Barrel. So yeah, what he's saying about is a muzzle reference system. It's that light that I was telling you about to brighten it or and move it in, and yeah.
And what that does is it's assist.
Okay, just for information, that's where the spare barrel goes for the chain gun. This is part of the recoil system for the main gun. Something you have to service, and that top up the oil in there. Depression stopper, so it can only go so far. You can take it off to get a full depression, but it stays there pretty much.
System of telling the sight where the end of the gun tube is
Barrel.
compared to where the computer thinks it is. So after you fire a few rounds, the gun gets hotter, it expands, the vibrations affect, and sometimes your sight is actually off compared to the gun tube.
Now, I don't know if you look on the gun position indicator there. It's irrelevant. It's actually pointing the gun to the rear of the vehicle when it's actually got gun front. So it's probably because all the stuff's been taken out, maybe.
So by using the muzzle reference system, it can counteract for that.
Gotcha.
So thermal imager, focus gains. Of course, this thing will see at night. Your selectors for the, what we have here is laser, first return, last return. And that is, if there are obstructions for the laser.
Obviously for day and night there, white and red light, white during the day, day and night.
You can see, you get the
It does
correct
get
return
dark
back
in there.
into it. But the most commonly used switches are the ones that are directly in front of you. So if you look at them, daylight or thermal imager. So if you're looking at the night sight, you want to look at the day sight, you just use your left thumb.
Wow.
If you want to zoom in, zoom out, you click that thing that says mag. Laser and laser.
Wait a minute. I think that's to do with artillery or something like that. I can't remember exactly what it's for. Add drop. Or it might be to do with... I can't remember. I'll have to find out. They may say something, but yeah.
In LA was.
It's surprising as well how sensitive that thumb controller is to move the turret. Does a full rotation in 12 seconds, 360
big
degrees.
toggle on for your right thumb. Coax off main. As which gun are you going to shoot?
Right.
It's a chain gun for some reason on this, not sure why. And then you got that strange control.
If you want to know what chain gun is, basically it's a machine gun, but it's not done like a normal thing would, where it would do by gas firing. It's actually it's like 4 prongs, so the rounds get fed into it, and regardless, there's always going to be something hitting it, like a percussion firing pin going to the percussion to the round. So even if it dry fires or the round doesn't go off, it's still going to go through and still get pushed out the end. So there could be live rounds going out the end. It will always fire, and it's run on a chain. I think it's come off an old helicopter.
Controller
That's
for
the
your
design of it, I
hex
think it
round,
was.
As on the right, that add drop thing, which I
This
don't
thing.
truly understand. I'm sure somebody who's actually a Challenger 2 gunner can probably tell you. But I mean, this is just ergonomics as it goes on. As things get more and better designed, people think, how do you use these? And
Oh, it could be, yeah.
as you can see,
I can't
it's awesome.
remember.
It's literally
got
at your
so long.
fingertips.
Everything. It's
So, like I was saying with those red buttons, that's for quick laying when he's looking for the commander's auxiliary site or sites in the cupola sites. There's all dotted around 360. So if he sees a target, he can instantly do that, and the turret will like an emergency.
It's called a hand-on throttle and stick. I don't know what the tank equivalent is, but it makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, they think about this, and it gets better and better and better.
What are some of the main things that we learned?
If you don't wear your helmet, that corner there gets you right in the back of the head. Tell me. Oh, trust me, it hurts.
From the Challenger 1 that were implemented here into the Challenger 2.
Do everything better. So you have there's a new gun, the L30 instead of the L11, which was a holdover from the Chieftain. But it uses the same three-piece ammunition. So you got the projectile, which will be stowed behind me. You've got the bag charges, which are stowed below the turret ring, because that's safer. And
No, they're not stored there. Yeah, down here is where you have your HESH rounds and smoke rounds. What he's on about bag charges is the second part of the charge. They're actually in special bins.
Tube, which looks a bit like a 50 caliber.
So that there is, I can't remember what it's bloody called, but that puts the TVE, which is on about the tube vent electrical, into. It's like a firing pin, basically. Part of this handle is to stop the gun recoiling backwards uncontrollably. That's part of the firing switch. In there, or what should be there, I don't know if it's there, is the actual firing pin itself.
Shell casing. And you fling those three in. It's actually pretty fast if you watch a competent operator, they call him here, loading the L30. It is actually a very fast process. The stabilization system is improved. The fire control system, so the IFCS was what Chieftain used, and very similar to what Challenger 1 used. This is now an Abrams type fire control system, very accurate, I believe, done by the Canadians. I'm not quite sure quite how it works out, but it's one of those Canadian companies that submitted the bid and won. Yay.
Something super distinct is not how you mentioned in previous videos. The ammunition is not stored out in the open. You have these bins.
Yeah, the bag charges are in the
Only
bins.
there 'cause-
But up high, like a saber round, there's nothing explosive in a saber round.
Right,
it's
just a
just
piece of-
a big piece of metal.
Yeah.
So there's no problem with that being up in a bustle, completely exposed.
How many can fit up in here?
I honestly have no idea, but I'm going to assume about 20 or 25.
I think it's 26
so
or
I guess
32.
I have some idea. But
remember
again,
now.
I mean, if those things...
Depending
if it
on the
gets hit and
radio
things go
configuration
flying
in the
around,
vehicle.
you're probably
When it
not
was
alive
Klansman,
because of
anyway.
the amount of
If
force
you have
that
3 Klansman
it
radios
takes
in
to
there,
get
you
a
lose,
saber projectile
you lose
moving
another
around
rack
like that,
'cause,
strapped in. And
you
there's
know,
a
which
couple of
holds
rounds
4
on the
rounds. So
gun
you,
tube there as
you
well,
know,
you can
it's,
see.
yeah, they were big Klansmen, but now it's all Bowman.
The coax, for some reason, they went with a chain gun. I'm not sure. I've never actually played with their coaxial machine gun. So
What's the difference?
most machine guns are operated by gas. Basically, the gas either
See, that's what I'm saying,
uses
it's
recoil
not-
force or the gas goes forward into a
it's just
piston,
constant
and
drive.
The gas tube uses a piston and recycles cycles the bolt that way. The chain gun is electric, so there is actually a little chain. I mean, it looks like a small bicycle chain that goes around 4 cogs in an orbit, and each time it does an orbit, the gun cycles once. So up if the index tab, or I can't remember the exact name of it, is up at the front left. Let's say it's in the breech lock ready to fire position. As it goes right, it triggers it, comes back, it starts the extraction cycle, comes left, you feed the round, comes forward, and it locks the bolt. And this electric driven motor is what actually operates the gun. I'm not sure I see the advantage to it over a regular machine gun, but obviously somebody does who gets paid a lot more than I do
Fair
to
enough.
understand these things.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a nice privilege to be inside a Challenger 2. And of course you got big, thick armor. I mean, again, you see how big the turret is on the outside.
Yeah, the thing's massive.
The
One
thing's
thing they're not
absolutely
showing yet
massive,
is the
but you can see
BV.
on the inside,
It's the
you know,
most
how
important
much
bit of
metal there
equipment
is
on
between
any
where
British
you
vehicle.
are.
The
And it's
BV's
just
not
metal, it's
working.
plastics and space
That
and all
vehicle
sorts
ain't
of
going
other things
nowhere.
that we're not allowed to talk about or
That's
know.
right.
And
So where
I
the
don't
camera
know,
guy's
honestly.
standing at the minute is a
Because,
loader's
again, I
side.
don't need to. But this is considered to be one of the safest tanks to get hit in of any. Merkava is up there, and the Swedes have an argument for the STRV 122. But if you're going to take a hit, you do very well to take a hit in this thing.
It has a record to prove it.
It does. There's like 70 something. Well, no. There's 13 RPG hits, I think. in
16.
one particular tank.
Good lord.
Yeah, my squadron.
Oh, look, he shot at me. Haha. Bad move.
Yeah, this thing's formidable as anything on the battlefield.
Yeah, and especially given that there's not actually all that many of these things left. I think they just announced going down to two regiments. The British train hard, and as I've always said, what's really important in a modern tank is how good the crew is. And the British trained their tankers well.
Yeah.
Let's see. Anything
Yeah.
else to be said around here? I've already mentioned the driver's position because he's got the awesome tack tension system. This is a
She looks really
lovely,
impressed.
well-designed. I wouldn't mind going to Warren this. I like my
I've been
Abrams.
to
I
Warren
think
it.
I probably still prefer my Abrams because I'm used to it, but I would not mind going to war in this tank.
It was incredibly cool to see it in motion at Tankfest in the arena.
Oh, and it's fast.
It's so fast, and the turret moves so fast. Like, you see that thing swing around, and it's like, whoa.
Yeah, straight on, and again, because you got the commander's designate function on after the upgrades, and it's stabilized. So as the thing's going around, I don't know if you noticed, the gunner would occasionally pick a guy in the crowd, and he'd track that guy for a second or two before moving on, and the gun tube is just dead still.
Barrel.
As it's doing this.
God.
Just like super smooth, and the thing's going, it's turning, the turret's staying.
Yeah.
It's
Tube,
super
it's not a
smooth.
tube,
that
it's a
driver was
barrel.
having the time of his life. I mean, you saw the tank coming around, skidding around corner. I mean, this guy's tail sliding. The Challenger 2. But again, it weighs 70 tons, so there is going to be inertia
Yeah.
for when you stop and when you go around
62
the
and a
corner.
half
70
unloaded.
tons, it sure looks nimble in motion.
69 and
It
a half
does,
when it's
it
fully
does.
loaded.
And again, modern technology. You compare
Something
those
like that.
early tanks that were going around like Matilda, there's going clank, 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 and what they're doing now is night and day. You can imagine if you were a World War I tanker, and you came out and you saw one of these things going around, that would be a significant emotional event almost.
It was crazy to see, I think it was a Tankfest maybe 2 or 3 years ago when they had their replica of the first one.
Of the Mark IV,
That's
yes.
right. And then next to the challenge, it's
Yeah, and the Mark IV, is just see this band of tracks. It look very Fletcher called it very spooky looking,
yeah.
and it especially you don't know what a tank was supposed to be to begin with. That would be a good reason, but and it's only been what 100 years
That's right.
since tanks were developed, and it's. Actually, something I noticed the other day is that you know those beautiful cars from the 1930s, like the Duesenbergs, the gorgeous-looking designs, and then you go to the muscle cars like the Chargers and so on. Those two vehicles are a lot closer to each other than the muscle cars are to what we're driving today in terms of
Especially
years.
talking about tanks,
And
not cars.
body technology as well, and it's just the speed of advance is amazing. But that is a bit of a digression.
That's right.
Yeah, talking about classic cars when we're sitting in a Challenger 2. And it's, you're sitting in a Challenger 2 when you're talking about classic cars.
Nothing wrong with a good old ramble, but it's amazing to see. It's quite a privilege for myself to be able to sit in one of these things. It's an impressive machine.
What if we can get him to let us drive it?
Oh. I would hope. Maybe
Are you sure
someday.
we can't start this up?
We take it for a spin?
It's fully working. You could drive it. However, it would set all the smoke alarms off.
Oh,
Oh.
worth it. Worth
We'd
it.
get
Worth it.
into
Worth it.
trouble.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
we're
it
being in a
does.
tank.
Yeah.
It
How
does.
much trouble can we get
When you
into?
do start it up, there is a lot of
To get
diesel
in
smoke.
trouble, they'd have to get into the tank to get us proper in
Yeah.
trouble.
Granted, we would have to run out of gas eventually. You're not my father.
You're not my real dad. This is cool. This is cool.
It's a shame they haven't shown the loader
It's
side.
interesting
I
to-
want one now.
Yeah, I want one. Santa Claus can take note, but something that, I don't know, being able to be inside one of these things and sort of see the function, just brings up just how one can relate to and understand this, and just brings up my level of respect and interest in the crews and these who serve.
Yeah, because when you're playing World of Tanks, you don't see it. All you see is the outside of the tank, tank just goes around, and it's lots of fun, but yeah, as you're saying, once you're inside, then you get to see, well, this is what is actually happening inside the tank.
What better way to connect than to see it and experience some perspective?
Well, I think we'll finish it there because they're just waffling now. Yeah. Let me just leave a comment. It's not a tube. It's a barrel. There we go. Oh, I'll read the comments now. Look, but I'll have a look at that in a minute. But I hope you like that. That's what I can remember from my knowledge of being inside when I was there. You know, I was in where she sat. Nearly got to where he sat, but I did command. I did get the command of Sultan, so you know something. And I was in a position where the camera guys I was loaded down. I was a driver on Challenger 2, so I was quite privileged. Done that for 8 years, and then we went to Scimitar and Mastiff out in Afghanistan. So yeah, that's I can answer any questions if anybody's got any questions in the comments. Leave me anything. Your ginger, you know. Hey, at least I can tie my hair. Don't forget, give this video a like, guys. Hit the notification bell as well, and subscribe to the channel. Even if you are just looking, just subscribe, because I want to get the channel growing. But yeah, thanks for stopping by. And I'll see you on the next one. See you later.